Okie dokie. So I think we can start 2 minutes over the 11 or sorry, 10. So community time block. Let's start with these items, status updates. For the next release of Keptn, we are mainly waiting for one item, which is this refactoring. But I saw that Anna, you start working on that. Or am I wrong?
Yes, there is a
Hello.
PR, but it's still in draft. Probably didn't link it.
Okay. Okay. Expected time frame for when it can be completed.
It needs a review for a common chart. The chart needs to be released, and we need to release each of our single charts, and then I guess that one can be merged. If approved.
This one, you mean?
Yes.
Perfect. So let's last PR to be merged. So everyone
There's
can.
some more stuff missing in the epic. Some documentation is still missing, which would be good to have because it's about installation. I think.
Yes, for documentation, I was waiting to discuss that in the next time block.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
This is more on the code side. Since now we can release
Yeah.
independently. In terms of implementation effort, everything is there once this PR is merged. I see. Perfect. So one last PR, everyone, when they have 3 cycles, please have a look so we can speed up the merge of this one. Then new discussion. Unfortunately, Adam is not here, but 8 hours ago, he created the following one, where he's challenging the pre and post tasks functionalities of Keptn. He has very valid arguments, although I like to challenge this one that remove the danger of Keptn by removing its ability to block deployment. I would say this is not a bug, it's a feature. Because if we have, for instance, the example that I provide here, we need to do a database migration. If we do that as a pre-task and the migration fails, doesn't make any sense trying to deploy the new version because the database is not there. So the app will fail at runtime with a wrong database configuration. And post tasks are also essential to provide this customization for the user to have the promotion step. As a app post deployment, someone can register a task like Thomas Schutz provided with an example that can trigger PR that bumps the version in the next environment. But I would like to bring awareness around this and for the community to read through and vote and also provide your justification why yes, why no. So we can have a consensus around this topic and then take the best decision for the community. Then any other topics for the community time block? Then I think I can hand over to Meg about the documentation parts.
Okay, and I may need more. The first one is that we have published a write-up. We have a page now about working with the software development environment. This is based on and references Andre's wonderful presentation from a couple weeks ago. And I also put it out on Slack. Really would like to get some of our new contributors to go through and try to work between Andre's video and this. Can they easily get their environment up or let us know what's wrong with it? So it's the sort of thing that review by the people who really know how to do this stuff is not our most effective. So, but I don't, oh, Jeffrey's here. So Jeffrey, well, you've got everything set up now, but your review was probably, you're in the middle. Appreciate it if you could go over it and anybody else, you know.
Sorry, come again? I wasn't paying attention.
Ah, the new work for contributors on the software development environment. I'd like some of our people who are newish and brand new, but also, to go through it and see if that actually works for them, or if we're missing information or unclear or have too much on something.
Oh, I'll look into it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And okay, and then we just found, I should have gone and added so wanted to step through, can we look on that page just very quickly? It's got the sections, so we've got for the 3 use cases, and with what I believe there are official, it's metrics, not custom metrics, not Keptn metrics, right? These are official titles, and observability and release lifestyle. At the end of each of those then is a link to the getting started guide. And what I think we're going to do is short term till we take a big look at everything. We will use these titles also on the landing page, and where it says read more, they will click into the appropriate section here. And then from there, that will take them onto the getting started guides. Also, if they come in from the top from the doc, some people will go to the intro to read, and again, they will get in there. So I will do that. I will make sure also that each of the tutorials begin, some of them just jump right into it or have a complicated drawing, like just a sentence or two about what the user case is, what this is for. And then the one is, we don't have a really good exercise for the Keptn metrics, for metrics, but I think we'll put in what we've got, and I'll move it around. Right now it doesn't make sense because it was part of a set of 3 that had an introduction, and that the introduction it's just a mess, but I'll try to cover it up, and then hopefully we'll be able to get a new one done fairly soon.
Wouldn't this be the exercise that you're looking for the metrics? Why this doesn't work well?
This is one of the 3 I wrote to go with Andy's demo. So it's a little bit hands-on. You can download it, the whole thing, but a lot of it is sort of look how we configured this. So I think
So what you're looking for, sorry, I missed to understand what's exactly the problem with this exercise. Is it too technical, too low details, or?
Well, no, it isn't a full, first of all, it's referring to the other exercises and the video, which is not here because it was the intro. But it isn't strictly a do this, do this, do this. It's a couple of things you need to do this, and here, look at this file for an example of how to do it. Or here's an example.
But are we talking about 2 different files here? Because there's 2 different guides for metrics right now, I think. This one,
no, there's
and the custom Keptn metrics one. And I think this one, the custom Keptn metrics one, is the one that we had in the beginning. That's the use case file. This one is the outdated, not so good one. Right? And the other one would
I think this is the only one we've got for, this is the only one we have for metrics, I think.
No, there is also this one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. That's the user guide.
Yep.
That's not a getting started guide.
I think what Meg means is that in this second one, there are more details, but the files are maybe not 100% working, that you just copy and paste them and things happen.
Well, okay, there's 2 different types of document here. One is like the getting started guides. The other getting started guides are tutorials, do this and then do this and do this, meant for the user to go through and do an exercise. The user, and they're selective in what they do, something common to get them started. the user guide should be comprehensive. Everything about how you do this. And then with links, and then there's the third part is the reference pages about the individual resource or CRDs and how you use them. So yeah, that's, I mean, part of me would love to just lose this one and tell them, if you want to know about this, go and read the guide. And we make sure that, you know, I've been working on it a little bit, make sure there's nothing that was in the old getting started that's not in the guide. I am open to, it's a stopgap. Should we have, first question is, do we need a real introductory tutorial where they do an exercise and set up metrics? And I would also, this one, we didn't pull in Grafana. We said you could use Grafana, but since we've got Grafana instructions and observability, I could steal that and put that in here.
Where is the Grafana part
But
here?
does
Sorry.
everybody think?
There is no Grafana here.
Not here. Okay,
And
where? Yes, that's the old, those three that are called use case, which are now under
maybe,
intro, but without the introduction to them.
okay, the very
Okay.
getting,
Okay, if you go down here, see, here's how you install. There's the getting started guide for this is the one that Adam wrote, and that actually tells them how to set up Grafana.
That's not fully right though. This doesn't tell anything about Grafana itself. It only tells about how to install our self-maintained dashboards into a Grafana
Okay,
instance, which is actually fine and needed, I would say. Yeah, okay, it also says install a Prometheus stack, which also includes Grafana and Prometheus. But it's not necessarily any instructions for Grafana itself, or
okay,
Prometheus for that matter. And the dashboards are actually maintained by us, and I think we should have instructions for that. That makes sense.
okay.
I don't know if anybody else has any opinions on this.
for our dashboards, I would refer to the README here, how to install them, because we hide everything behind a single command.
Okay. And do we want to be from a getting started guide, pushing them into having to read a README under GitHub, or should I be pulling that text out into something else? That's the other thing, this, you know, we kind of, I can make arguments on all sides. There's good reasons to do lots of things.
I'm currently wondering, because we have referred to so many different data sources here and stuff like that, and we also have this killer coder example, right? This is also, is it still maintained?
No, because we
Not
don't
really.
have any.
But, so just as an idea, what about using, for instance, creating a docs and code space example, where people can play around with the different use cases without setting up everything on their local machine, like we did
Yeah,
in the...
that's the next, we've got a big issue out there under Moritz over the next few months to go back and really look at the whole docs and refactor stuff. But this is right now what you get. If you come into Keptn.shell, you see 3 use cases which have different names than what they have in the documentation. And then you click on to read more, and you don't necessarily go into the right place for that feature. I mean, it's an absolute travesty. So this is to be a quick fix to get us through till we can do the right thing and go back and look at the big picture and do something right. And what you say is, you know, definitely something to consider for the long term.
Although we did discuss this in the maintainers already, I think, in the maintainers team.
Yes.
Like killer coder / code spaces or any other interactive setup. And I think the opinion or the consensus was that we don't really want to maintain that ourselves. If there's a community member for it to take it over, then we will gladly integrate that, but we don't really want to also maintain that. I think that was the consensus last time.
And I think
Yeah,
another,
that's, yeah, we have to resource it.
another thing was that to have a proper tutorial, you will need too many resources. So we would have to fake many of the things. So is it really valuable if you have a mock server instead of Prometheus? Probably not much.
Yeah, that was the issue with Killer Coder.
Mm.
You're pretty limited with the resources, and the getting started guide that we have in the docs right now with Prometheus and Grafana and everything, you couldn't even set up there because the resources are too limited.
Yeah.
Maybe Codespaces is better with that. I don't know actually.
Yeah, you can run a lot of stuff inside. You have, I don't know, 8 gigs of RAM, 4 CPUs, and have a free tier available with I don't know how many hours, compute hours per month. So people could really play around with a little bit of a bigger setup. But anyway, but it was just an idea.
Yeah. And something that I don't understand either is how much do people want that? You know, I mean, all of that by definition, it gives you a simple example of doing something. Is that really what they want, or do they want, you know, do they want a real documentation that goes into all the details about how they can do? And
if I can give my 2 cents, most of the time in the help channel, people have specific problems about their environment where they are testing out things. Like they start with a little proof of concept, and maybe one has to use vCluster because it's has to use clusters on a AWS or whatever. One has to do it on his machine and has a virtual machine and whatever. So I don't know if there is really a need for a.
yeah, I mean, there's a possibility that the getting started guides are so perfect that they go through and they do that and they say, yes, I want this, and I'm off to the other stuff. I'm skeptical. But yeah, that's my impression is we like a getting started guide. We think that looks really cool. And it's fun to put together the first time. And it's a nightmare to maintain. But this is all part of the bigger discussion for the long term. So I guess the question is right now we've got 2 decent getting started guides, for one for observability and one for tasks, deployment tasks. And we have something bad for Keptn metrics. Do we put that in, or do we just say, if you want to know about Keptn metrics, put them to the user guide until we figure out what else to do?
Didn't we say to use what we have until we do the document topic?
That's one thing we can say, yes.
So
modify it so you don't completely fall on your face because stuff is missing, and which I can do easily enough.
Was this one?
Yes.
Okie dokie.
And that's all I've got for now, other than I need to do now that almost everything is merged, I need to read through. And by the way, one thing, my first read through I found out is that the tasks tutorial, you can get to it with a link, but it's not showing up in the table of contents. So, but that'll get fixed by this. So I will get that done fast. And then I need to read through everything else to make sure we don't have any other bad problems. And then I think we're ready to go.
Perfect.
Okay.
And then you have one last point about revise the Keptn SH landing page. I attached the link about these changes.
Right. So yeah, and so we'll do that. And then we'll look at it and we'll see if there's anything else that just really is painful right now.
Perfect.
There is something ugly up there. I forget, there's something on the top line of tabs, there's something like page not found. And I don't even know
That's
what should be there.
that's unfortunately a limitation of Netlify, because here
Ah,
it's our 404 page not found template. And if you look into the main website, there is nothing on the top
it's
here,
not there. Okay, I'm seeing it in Netlify. Okay, good.
but why now it's not working? Damn it. But you should redirect to this page when you don't find anything.
Oh,
It-
okay.
It works if you are in a release and you move towards a document that is not there. At least it did back then. I mean, clicking from the site, but whatever.
Are we
I
sure
will,
it's not there if you go into development release?
if you go into dev, it's page not found here.
Okay. And we know about that, so and it doesn't matter.
Yes.
That's okay.
Okay,
I
good.
will double check with the Netlify configuration to make sure that it works.
Is Netlify generating the development documentation too?
No, more like
Mm.
hosting, and we have some configuration around it from Netlify. If that helps. Hugo is actually generating your docs from Markdown to HTML.
Yeah.
But we can probably also just hide that page from the headers.
But
I don't know. But
when
it's not super
I,
important, honestly, on the preview page.
yeah, exactly. When I tried it out, it was being hidden and only redirected here when something doesn't match. But I will give it another shot to see.
Maybe after we updated that, it is changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Baby steps. We keep making it better. It doesn't have to be perfect right now.
Any other topic for documentation?
Not for me.
Then let's give it
Let's
for the
refine.
tickets. Yes. Let's start from discussion items. And this fits better with what we just discussed, actually, Meg.
Ah, yes.
I agree with Adam's comment that we should not maintaining installation instruction of other tools.
That's been the principle.
And that didn't actually change.
Yeah.
We don't really have any installation instructions for Grafana except for in the getting started guide where we actually needed to like show a use case.
Right,
And
and
there-
that's the problem too, though, is because we really shouldn't have something in a getting started guide that isn't in the main docs. That's sort of,
I
and
disagree with that because
I
that's
disagree
an
with that as well.
it's
okay,
an Helm chart installation command. So you don't tell about installing Grafana, how you can configure, maintain that. We just say run this command and you will find a dashboard auto.
okay,
Yeah.
and then you're configuring it for our stuff. Okay, that's I didn't completely understand that.
Yeah.
And
And
it can stay old forever and it will work.
and we did at one point in the installation instructions, there's a section on getting your cluster ready for Keptn, and it mentions that if you want a dashboard, you need to install Grafana and Jaeger, and it used to have links to their documentation for installation, and those links have disappeared. So those probably should go back because that's appropriate to have links to their documentation, right?
To their
I'll check
website,
that
I
out.
would say yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Can you open the
Yeah.
installation page, Giovanni?
Installation and Kubernetes cluster, the next one down. And Glue, and then prepare your cluster for Keptn. See, like kubectl, Helm, there's links for those, and the
The
Typo.
typo. Yeah,
Oh.
that should probably mention Grafana, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Oh, no, doesn't, and
Oh, actually, okay, Jaeger is there just without a link.
yeah, where did, oh, above is Grafana, but it's no longer.
Okay, also just without a link. Okay, so that
Yeah. I'll go and replace the link. Somebody took it out somewhere along the line.
Perfect. Yes, I agree.
Okay.
Here we should definitely just, point towards their website.
And now, what about the stuff that's in the README in the GitHub for Grafana? Should I pull that into the main docs, or should we just tell them what's there and point to that?
Now we'll point to here because this is just, how can I call it? Spatial dashboard that we maintain for Grafana. They don't need to know what are all of this because this is very Grafana specific. There is no real value around
Oh,
these
okay.
JSON specific things.
Okay.
Just point them here so they can run this command, and then if they have Grafana, this dashboard will be created for them into their own instance.
Oh, okay. So actually, maybe I should pull that. Let me go and look at it and think about it a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for here, we can we agreed to add the links for Jaeger and Grafana in this page.
Excellent.
Let's add the anchor link. Then this one and the two use cases are missing from the docs.
Yeah, I know we agreed we will do a big epic for this, but this too came out of talking with users on the community. One of them is that they have no clue how to maintain a Keptn app or a workload after they installed it the first time. So multiple times we got the question, okay, what do I do now that I want to update my workload or things like that? And for that, I think Flo already is working on something.
Exactly. Yeah. So the PR I linked here specifically tells how to, update a workload, add one to an existing application. Maybe to solve a ticket. It's called day 2 operations. I think this one is a little bit too
Yeah.
broad, maybe.
I wanted to ask here today whether you have other use cases in mind already. That is the reason why. Because I put here just cleanup of resources and this update of.
Yeah. I saw that for the cleanup, we do also have a separate ticket for that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But if you have anything else in mind, maybe it would be nice to collect it. Or we can keep them like this.
Oh,
I mean, for day 2 specific tasks, we do. There are also using the horizontal pod autoscaler and the metrics in combination might fall under this category. But for this, we already have a guide. So maybe this is then all about the structure, how we link all those together. But I think the individual contents for those
some of those
particular
user
use
guides
cases we will have then.
Yeah.
Would this be a better title? Because if I read H2, it sounds like Keptn can
Yes.
handle.
Yes. No, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It would be nice to have a place where I'm okay. I had the installation getting started. Now, what do I do with it?
Okay, then let's all review the PR.
Right now it's in draft because since the structure is going to be changed soon, I wasn't completely sure where to put this now. But yeah, either we can merge it before we change the structure, or I can adapt it afterwards as well.
We can also start, reviewing the content.
Exactly, yeah.
And then the merge can follow up. Did I remove the labels? I forgot. Yes.
We can always create another page under user guides too. I mean, it's going to be a few months before we redesign all the structures. Doesn't mean we can't add stuff in the meantime.
Then next discussion about, should we pass an entire job spec to a task definition? Basically be the deployment for pods, but just for jobs, where we have a complete template of what we create. In particular, about the discussion here, Anna.
So we had a user asking for this, arguing that they may want to customize more things than what we expose. And then why not just having directly the whole job for them? Why should we bother maintaining something more? And we discussed in the ticket it was not the place, so we should have a separate discussion for this. So here is the separate discussion.
Opinions?
This would only mean for the container runtime, basically, right? Because
Yes.
they know. And Python runtime, I guess, need to stay as it is. Otherwise, I cannot imagine how it would work.
Yes, I would imagine that instead of a container, we have a whole job that you can define, and maybe we modify just the few labels and things that we need for Keptn.
Yeah, that's clear, but just adding labels is not a
But
thing.
this was the original idea, and then we scratched it out. So I'm asking why we scratched it out, and do we still believe that that was a good reason?
I mean, we can definitely give the user more flexibility to configure whatever he wants. But this will affect only the container runtime. Everything else will stay as it is. Maybe it's worth to write it in the ticket.
Yeah.
I have some vague memory that we discussed that who writes the job and who runs it are different person with different permission or things like that, but I don't really recall what was the reasoning why we wanted to limit.
By adding the whole job, we mean the job spec, right?
Yes,
Yes.
meaning access.
Maybe have some
and
data
stuff.
on, do we have some data on to what extent the configurations required by customers might differ to what we currently support?
Right now, this is
Most
already
important.
the third configuration we have to add.
Because we already support backoff limits and
Yeah.
retries, I guess.
So there was
The really
something
important thing that's missing still is the TTL.
TTL and the other ticket that we are already working on, which is the, what was it? The secrets, like loading tokens, or what was it?
Yeah,
Service accounts?
Service account and
accounts.
automate the token for it.
Yeah.
I mean, by now we already have almost the whole job spec anyways, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the most important things. And
Yeah, and probably Kubernetes won't add random new spec to a job.
Yeah, but it's also less maintenance for us because we leave the whole flexibility on the user and we just add it to the.
Sure, now we have more M variables squeezed in the Helm chart and whatnot, but
Yeah, this
that's done
ticket.
by now.
Let's be aware that this ticket will cause breaking change. Because we might, if we support this, we can remove or should remove the backoff limit, retries, and these parameters, and instead of container, inject the whole job spec. So
Yeah, so probably
you could
reverting.
actually make it backwards compatible easily.
You just need to override the job spec, whatever you have in the variables. But then what is the point? Like, I feel like the changes are not worth the amount of effort we will have in maintenance.
We can have it backward compatible because we mount this top level. So in the conversion webhook, we just put into the template spec.
Yeah, we just put it at the right spot. Same with all the other configuration that we also already have as custom fields now.
That would mean that V1 Alpha 4, which I expect new task definition API will be part of, will need to be the hub version. And that's not possible if the hub version needs to be one specific version for all resources. Therefore, we need to move all Keptn resources to the V1 Alpha 4 and make them hub. So that's additional.
Are you sure that's the case?
Yes, I tried it other way around already and it didn't work. The hub version needs to be one version.
Really?
You cannot have us resource
Per group,
per
you need to
version.
specify the app version.
Group.
Group
Okay.
API, yeah.
Okay.
By Christian.
Bye.
So back to the question, is it really worth it? Should we do it?
Let's discuss it here. I need more time to think this through properly.
Let's
discuss things here. The ticket.
Okay, and then let's reevaluate next week, I would say.
Yes, exactly. Then move to KO and use the chain guard images as a base images. This one was a ticket that we wanted to discuss last week, but Moritz, you were unfortunately not here, so let's discuss today. I think the open question is, should we still support Docker? Or we can get away from any Docker files and we just rely on KO?
The question in my mind is it worth the effort to change? Or do we have any reason to change, really? Or is it just cool to do it?
I tested yesterday build between Docker and KO. And Docker is more flexible, I have to say. So we can propagate with this -x flags global variables. Let me show you what I mean. More easily because we pick them from the environment. Whereas with KO, this is not straightforward and we need to provide some configuration files. You cannot do that through the command line itself. You need to provide some, damn it.
Yeah, it's under configuration.
Yeah.
Configuration and then overriding Go build settings.
Ah, here it is. Yes, here it is. So it's less flexible, but build time is way faster. The only
Is it? Why is it faster?
I don't know why, but on my machine it was really way faster. Because I guess that you don't need to have this multi-layer setup. It builds everything in once. I don't know why, but it was quite faster. I didn't compute, actually. I can run some experiment to see build time.
That would be cool, yeah.
And the cool thing is that in a single command, you can do everything. So for our CI pipeline, we don't need to set up Docker, log in, then build, then log out. We can do everything with a single command. So
with a single command or a single action?
Single command. The only thing
I really thought that.
basically these two steps, it's a single command.
Okay, but you still need to set up KO, which is a separate action.
Fair point on that, Drew.
And you still need to log in.
Yeah, it would be nice to How long it takes to set up.
Yeah,
The only thing that I didn't look into is how to export the image as a tar.
Mm.
that would be really important for us in the pipelines.
The only damn it, true, because we do that in a different action. So we need to upload that as an artifact. We cannot load directly into kind.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we can change this image in Docker file to use the chain guard image.
So we can have a Docker file that just takes whatever we did in the other configuration.
We leave everything the same, we just change our base images
Okay.
to the chain guard ones instead of distros.
So
I'd be
now,
fine with that, honestly. I don't see how we get any real value by changing everything to KO from Docker except for some build time maybe, but that's I see lots of effort in doing that.
yeah, I think the low-hanging fruit would be to change the base image. And maybe we can run a POC to see how it feels, the pipeline with a KO built instead of a Docker. Worst case scenario, we can always use KO locally. Since my main benefit is the build time, I can run that locally. I forgot to mention cross-platform build is way faster. Sorry, compared to Docker. When I compile I have an ARM64 platform, and I want to compile for AMD64. Docker is way slower than KO. So for local development, we can always use KO. But for our pipeline, I would say everything is working. Don't touch it until we break it again.
That's an amazing incentive if it's faster.
Yeah, but by how much? That's why I would say maybe it's worth to run some POC to see.
Yeah, if the pipeline takes like half the time than before,
Then it's worth
that would
it.
be
Yeah.
cool. If it's like we gain a minute, I'd say we shouldn't care.
Okay, remove the definition of done and just keep it. Dockerfile should use the chain guard images. Let's use real. And remove the label done. Perfect. We should have only this one, so we can discuss next week. Now, small refactoring ticket. Since the other day was playing with KO, building the lifecycle toolkit, in particular the lifecycle operator, I also noticed that we have some maybe refactoring to be done. In particular, to clean up some observability signals that we are emitting from the lifecycle operator. Metrics, fine. Everything there is perfect. Traces, we have some several traces. So we emit the deployment trace, which is very beneficial for the end user, but we also emit reconciliation loop traces that were good for us to debug how things were working and everything was fine. However, this is quite noisy for end users because now they have a lot of traces as only one of them is important about the deployment itself. So my suggestion now is to discuss, should we remove the internal traces that we are emitting, or should we disable them through a flag?
I would vote for removing, because at least for debugging, I never actually use them, and they also make the code very verbose. So
My 2 cents on that is we now need to handle context properly, and it's very easy now to use the wrong context and attach a child span to the wrong parent span. I'm also in favor of removing everything to make it easier. Other opinions? I see nodding, I see I don't care. I see thumbs up, perfect. Second point is logs. For the app reconciliation, for the auto discovery in particular, sometimes we emit some error level logs, but it's not really an error. And this is tied together with the traces. I discovered that because one of those traces was with a error flag that something went wrong. And in reality, it was not really an error. Simply now we cannot find anymore a CRD, but the deployment then kicked it off perfectly fine. So I would like to go over the error logs again and make sure that we emit error logs only when it's truly a problem for the end user and not for the internal controllers. All clear? Questions for this ticket? Perfect. Then let's move to the second one. A good first issue from Florian.
yes, this is also a refactoring ticket. So as I posted here in the examples, in the reconcile pre-post evaluation Go functions of the app versions and workload versions, the evaluation handler that takes care of the evaluation is created on the fly. And this makes testing hard, because then when testing one of these functions, you actually have the actual evaluation handler also being part of the test, and this should be decoupled. So, the usual pattern of rather having a evaluation handler interface that can be mocked, and in the controllers that make use of that can be injected to use the mocked implementations in the unit tests of the controllers.
I now have second thoughts on the naming. Sorry. Interfaces in Go should be called with a noun like evaluation handle. Then the struct should be evaluation handler.
We have many naming for interfaces.
Yeah.
We use
I mean,
name of the thing. We use many things.
I think mostly we use I and then the name of the thing.
So I handler would be or high evaluation handler.
I don't care about the name.
Exactly. So, but this is mixed. We have also others. So.
Okay, we don't have any good naming schema, but yeah, it's good enough anyhow.
But I think we said refactoring is not really what's the right word? Good for a good first issue.
But this is a very specific refactoring. It's not make it with more coverage. It's
I'm fine having this as a good
very
first
limited.
issue because it's very guided by Florian. It says exactly what to do, how to do
Okay.
it.
Okay, sure.
The only thing
Just
maybe
one.
Flo, add
Yeah.
the link towards or add an example about where another place where we generate the mocks, so we
Yeah.
can provide the proper
Oh, yeah.
annotations.
Of course, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. You were saying?
No, since I'm adapting this, has resolved itself. All good.
Then janitor, I guess it's no more. It's Japan.
Linking to the discussion of before, it could be a nice tutorial to have for users on how to clean up Keptn resources if they don't have them. This is not 100% trivial if you don't know janitor, and this is something that not everybody knows. So it may be nice to have at least one little page in which we have a configuration and show an example. We don't have to do anything fancy for it.
I'm
Yeah.
a bit afraid. I would rather. So just because before we also mentioned this, we should not document how to use other tools, like we are not documenting how to use Prometheus or Grafana. We
No.
should rather link towards, hey, if you have this problem in the previous ticket about how to handle Keptn in production.
Sure. So I would add this as where do we explain in documentation how to maintain Keptn after? Link to the janitor, and then in the examples, have an example where we clean up one resource, like we do for Grafana with the dashboard.
Oh, I don't know if we
Why
should provide the example.
why again do we not document how to integrate Keptn with other tools?
We do document that.
So why not do it for this? I don't understand.
Depending on the level of documentation that you want to have.
In my mind, this is enough to show that, okay, you cannot use annotation with the janitor because most of the time you inherit annotation from another CRD and maybe you don't want to delete that CRD. You should use configurations, and this is an example. Doesn't have to be 100% working example, but at least putting it out there, because I think this is, I mean, this exact conversation I had already with a user, like, okay, but I cannot use it because I cannot annotate the resource. And then I had to point him.
Okay, so the simple use case of janitor doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
So at
now
least
it's
giving a
more clear.
hint what you should do.
I mean, I see a tutorial for this. Since user
Yeah, very
guides are the
simple.
comprehensive thing, that's something we don't want to have for this. But a tutorial could be cool. Even
User
mentioning
guide
like,
page. User
But
guide
we-
sorry?
page.
I thought user guides are the comprehensive thing.
Right, or something, yeah, but it's not a tutorial.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I don't know anymore what is what. A small instruction manual on how to use janitor with Keptn to clean up the resources that get out of hand.
Yeah, somewhere that is written, I want to get rid of all of my Keptn resources. How do I do it?
Yeah, and also
Yeah.
maybe what is
And you
actually
say you're
pretty
going to
intuitive.
use janitor, and that links to the janitor doc, and then you say,
Yes.
here's an
And then
example.
maybe also link to the fact that you need to use the customization of the rule file.
Yeah, okay, great, yeah.
And to do that, I would test that this works. And since you have to test that you work, maybe you could also copy your example configuration.
Yeah.
And maybe it's also worth mentioning here, what Keptn resources are that usually get out of hand with scale.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
So
could also be part of
metrics,
this.
yeah. Jobs.
Could you please repeat because I couldn't listen and write?
Basically, list the resources that get out of hand with Keptn scale. Like jobs, tasks, etc.
Analysis.
Analyses in the future, yeah.
Yeah.
Evaluations.
Yeah.
Is it clear enough?
Yes.
Looking at Anna, Moritz, Florian, Andre, and Geoffrey as well. Perfect.
I would really like to have a definition of a user guide and a tutorial and a
Uh,
getting started
actually-
guide in the words list or whatever, or somewhere
Right.
in the contribution guide.
Okay, there is a little bit in there. Let me look and see if there's enough of this. Actually,
Yeah.
I think about it.
If it's
We-
there, it's
some-
fine. Then I've just not read it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it's
Somebody,
there.
we've got an operate section now in the docs,
Mhm.
and this would be managing resources. I think might be a good page in there. We might come up with other things, but
And we are exactly running out of time with out of tickets to refine, which is perfect.
goody.
Yes.
I have two quick questions. We need to, because this was not on my radar, and we've got to update the installation material for the umbrella charts. We've got it. We do have the upgrade stuff is done. Also, is the Prometheus secrets, is that in 083? Because I don't have it documented.
Yes. You can now configure a token for the matrix provider when it is
Okay.
Prometheus.
Okay.
And yeah, we had this discussion. We should document for each provider
Right.
what kind of secrets you need, right? So probably
Yeah.
that we would also do for this release. I don't know the
Right.
other. What do you think?
Let's focus on one step at a time. Otherwise, we open too many things
Ex-
for documenting. Let's focus on what we discussed today in this meeting,
Okay.
and we can revisit this part of the metric in a follow-up. Let's focus first on
Yeah.
the getting started guide. So the entry point is
Yes.
clear. The more advanced use cases about setting secrets can be after we finish that part. So we can focus more on delivering value to our end users.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for the discussion. It was very nice
Yeah.
talking with you. Have a great rest of your day and see you next time.
Okay.
Bye
Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
See ya.